All right, everybody, welcome back. Sam's Army episode 2.244, and we got an extra lot to talk about this week now that we're back from our little holiday break. So we'll start off with headlines. We'll be featuring Super League 2.0, Ratcliffe's United and Japan falling into line. Weekly What If is Christian Pulisic related. Always good to talk a little baby Jesus. Premier League, we got a lot to catch up on after a busy couple weeks with a lot of interesting results, including Arsenal and Kieran Trippier being bad boys and Wolves being good boys. Then we got Round the World with more Turkey-related shenanigans and some transfer chatter. And finally, Stoppage Time with Ivan Toney's Best Bets, where the overtrain is back cooking with thermonuclear gas, boys and girls. Hold on to your butts. We are hot. We are hot, and we're going to get a little randy this week. We'll see. And then, of course, tough to top that, but we'll try with everybody's favorite segment, Goas. Now it is time, without further ado, to welcome in this week's panel of beauties, where appropriately we are joined by representatives from the Tweedle and Scouser communities, respectively, starting with Mitchell Goulet, aka Overtime Mitch, who let me start off by offering condolences. Your grandmother passed, and so very sorry to hear that. I'm sure that she lived a long and great life. But I got a question for you based on you're going through all your stuff and going through the various, how you do with the passing of grandparents.
Yeah.
What's the sort of most notable knickknack that you came across from the week of going through, all the cool stuff from her house?
Yeah, appreciate it. We were dealing with the estate and all of her house and shit. The most notable thing, she was robbed like 2 years ago of all of her jewelry, and yet she still had like pounds and pounds of jewelry to go through. I was astonished. I don't know how much money that woman spent on jewelry. I would have loved some of it in the will, but I got a couple rings to remember now by. Yeah, just the sheer volume of like really, really cheap jewelry was astonishing that that woman owned after being robbed of all of her priceless artifacts. It was impressive. She did live a long and bling-filled life though, so rest her
Clearly,
soul.
clearly. Well, shout out to Mima Goulet. And again, sorry for the. And thanks for hopping on. You're here to make sure that the people get their podcast. So shout out to you, as always. By the way. Also with us this week, Mr. Dalton Kemper, who thankfully is sitting down, so we don't have to see his raging sports boner after the shit pumping that Liverpool bestowed upon Newcastle this afternoon. But before we get into how many of your unborn children you plan on naming after Mo Salah, your question has absolutely
All of
nothing,
them.
nothing. Right? We already knew that. Your question has absolutely nothing to do with any of that. What was the best thing that Santa Claus got you for Christmas this year?
Ooh, God, that's a good one. Oh God, I'm getting old, and you're gonna be able to tell from my answer. So my wife and I just bought a house last month. So the best thing I got was a new drill. And that is really sad to say as I
Oh, that's
say it
hype.
out loud. Yeah,
That's
as I
hype.
say it out loud, I kind of winced a little bit because like younger me inside me was like, you shouldn't ever be excited for that. But I am excited. I got a brand new drill, Sam.
Ooh, that is. I mean, I winced. I'll be honest, I winced, but at the same time, like I was like, it could be useful. So that sort of shows that
Yeah,
where I'm
yeah.
at in life as well. So now quickly to get the I don't know the weirdly lighting the elephant out of the room here. I'm in Miami. I'm in a hotel. I'm on the patio of the hotel. I'm outside.
Against your will?
On what?
Against your will?
Shoe will?
Against your will,
Oh, against
based
my
on the
will.
lighting situation?
Yeah, I know. It does look like a hostage type scenario. No, it is not against my will. I did come down here willingly to enjoy the weather. Not that Chicago is bad at the moment, but South Beach you can't beat. But we are in a hotel for one night, and then we'll be at a place with my in-laws, who I love. That's not a bad thing. But listen, it's obviously not ideal sort of lighting. Probably audio might be a little, I don't know, rusty. We'll see. That's up to you, Dalton. You hopefully you can work your magic on that. Every now and again, though, like some
The
sort
car
of
that just said hi from the street. I don't know. That's
exactly.
gonna be a
Every
tough
now
thing.
and again, you got one of these, somebody who obviously has large testicular action, who just needs to like rev his motor in his Bugatti going down the street. So apologies in advance for any dealings with that you guys gotta handle. But we'll move on. We'll move on from that. Headlines. So the brilliant and definitely not desperate and cash hungry minds behind the original Fuck Soccer, Get Money European Soccer League were handed a get out of jail free card from Santa by way of the European Court of Justice, which decided that UEFA and FIFA had actually overstepped their bounds by trying to penalize the group. I think it was the likes of Barcelona, Real Madrid, Juventus, that group that came up with the first Super League slash Schmorschmorschen that fell on its face immediately. But given the decision from the Court of Justice, this group, who is renamed slickly, by the way, A22, they are wasting no time in announcing that the FSGM ESL 2.0 is in the works. It'll have 3 tiers. It'll have promotion and relegation between them. They've got a whole little 2-minute and 20-second slick presentation that you guys can, you probably have seen at this point. So we won't go into the minutia of it. But so Mitch, this is for you. Now that we've had a few weeks, if not years, to think about this and to sort of perhaps let it grow on you a little bit. Has it grown on you? Well, what are your thoughts here?
I'll say this, the format alone is appealing, and I can see why people would watch that brief presentation that you talked about and say, oh, that actually doesn't sound too bad. I'm still incredibly out on the entire thing, though, based on the club participation or lack thereof, to be honest. This doesn't happen without everybody buying into it. And at this stage in what is capitalism and football married, it's going to be really difficult to get scores and scores of clubs to buy into a new format like this, especially when we've kind of been okay with the current format for so long. Like, is there imperfections to it? Sure. Is there something that really needs changing? No. No, this is a cash grab. This is, I don't know what acronym you just used, but you can enlighten us after the fuck soccer, get money.
FSGM
Yeah,
ESL 2.0. Yeah.
there it is. Thank you. Yeah, it's a cash grab at its heart. And while again, I'm interested in the format, it intrigues me. I'm out on the league as a whole.
Yeah, there's something to be said for the fact that UEFA is not a bunch of angels. They're kind of like FIFA, right? They are cash hungry, they are power hungry. That's sort of their whole thing. So it's not what I get a little caught in two minds about is the fact that when I immediately sort of hate the Fuck Soccer, Get Money European Soccer League, I mean, like instinctively, I just immediately hate it. That's not because I like UEFA. That's not like a vote in favor of UEFA or FIFA. Like this is a do we want to go with this corrupt group that really sort of at the end of the day wants to sort of leech soccer or leech money out of soccer, or do we want to go with this group? And I have no sort of illusions. I know that what UEFA is all about. I know what FIFA is all about. But at the same time, I also know that they're willing or they're able to put on a pretty good product for us. Like I got no problem with the Champions League. As much as I hate FIFA, they do a pretty good job with the World Cup. So like do you want to go with the devil you know or the devil you don't know? That's kind of how I feel about it. And then you add in the fact that what is the motivation for the groups that are really backing this new league? And I have some serious questions about that. And the fact that why would English teams buy into this. It's clearly like a situation where this is kind of meant to sort of temper their growth and give some of that money to the other leagues. Anyway, Dalton, anything to add there? Any disagreements?
I agree. I hate it. Even the format I don't like just because they promise this time promotion and relegation, but your league position means nothing in the Super League because essentially like Union Berlin last year, they finished in a Champions League spot, got to play Champions League this year. They wouldn't get to do that in the Super League. They'd be playing the equivalent of Conference League.
Exactly.
So they say there's promotion and relegation. There's really not. Like it ensures the elite of the elite is going to stay in the top division. The main reason that I hate it, and it's not going to work without the English teams, like you said. So
exactly, and that's what this is all about, right? At the end of the day, it's all about Barcelona and Real Madrid. I assume Juventus. I haven't actually seen them sign on to this. It's all about them sort of wanting more of the pie and sort of wanting to take a baby step towards the American version of sports where you don't have to worry about promotion and relegation. That's what it's really all about. Anyway, I'm sure we'll talk about this again, but I think we all know where we stand at this point. So we'll move on. So next up, we got the deal, the long sort of discussed deal in which Jim Ratcliffe and his investment vehicle, I think Ineos is what it's called. They're taking a 25% stake in Manchester United for 1.3 billion pounds. Not a big deal, and that includes 235 million that will be an equity, investment into the club, which basically gives them some much needed flexibility in which they don't really have to worry about FFP related problems, if anybody does. But anyway, it's a different discussion for a different day. So Dalton, is this too soon for United fans to get a little excited?
I think a little too soon as long as the Glazers have controlling stake in the club. And I think eventually if sounds like when Radcliffe takes over and gets, majority ownership of the club, then I think United fans can get a little excited about, he's actually going to change things and there's actually going to be a scouting department and a bunch of different things that most football clubs already have. Then I think they can get excited. Right now, it's nice to see they're moving in the right direction if you're a United fan, but I wouldn't be too excited about it just yet. Also, especially while Ten Hag's still manager.
Oh, okay, you had to get a little shot in there, Ten Hag. Um, I, I sort of just, I think United fans they've had a tough. Listen, were spoiled for a long, 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 long time. I will never forget, all my United fans growing up, fan friends growing up who, I mean, they're winning the trebles, they're winning everything. I will never forget that, but they've had a rough go of it lately. So I think this is something that they can at least get a little excited about. Like the 25% stake, obviously it's not a controlling stake, but you got to assume he's going to have some say in the boardroom and that'll start to get some changes from the top down, which obviously is something United needs very, very badly. I don't know, Mitch, any thoughts here?
Yeah, it's signaling a step in the right direction for sure. You don't inject that much capital into something like a project like that without wanting to move that forward. I really feel like this is Radcliffe's first step into gaining the controlling share of the club. Like I think it'll be a slow phase out of the Glazers because I don't know, they have their own ulterior motives. But yeah, United fans can get excited about this for sure. You guys, like you said, have had a tough go of it. It's okay to be excited about change.
So, by ulterior motives, I think we all know that they mean the dividends, which
Yes.
which they award
Yeah.
themselves freely. And Ratcliffe, to his credit, has been very clear in saying, "Yeah, that's not something that should be happening." So, that alone, there's somebody that's pulling the strings who actually is talking about not sort of taking a lot of money, making the club their personal piggy bank. That's a step in the right direction. So,
Yeah.
okay. So thirdly, we have the news out of Japan, which I was surprised to hear this, but the J League is so they typically or they always run their season spring to fall, the same way that MLS does here in the U.S. and Canada. They decided, they took a vote, and they officially are going to switch. I think 2025 is when they're making the switch. They are going to align their schedule with Europe and with UEFA. So they're going to go fall to spring and, sort of go through the winter there. Now, there's always been a lot of talk about MLS, perhaps, following this same sort of path and making this change. As somebody who lives in Chicago and deals with Chicago winters and has dealt with Midwest winters, upper Midwest winters my entire life, I never really sort of thought that was. Just imagine how big his cock and balls are. Anyway, I never thought that the MLS could go that route because it's you cannot get somebody from Chicago, let alone the Twin Cities or Toronto, to go to a game from November, basically when MLS Cup happens, through to like mid-May or at least April. It's going to be tough. So I just didn't think this was a possibility. Then I saw there was this map going around that has like climate analogs between US and Japan. And I was kind of a little surprised by it. They had, here, I'll pull it up. Sapporo, apparently, they're saying is similar to Maine. Yamagata is similar to, I think that's Buffalo over there. If that's true, I don't know how much, stock I put in a map that's randomly going around, the internet, obviously. But I don't know, Mitch, what do you think? Is this something MLS should look into? Is it something that is just a non-starter given, the whatever particularities of the US climate and culture? Or are you interested in it or not?
I think I would be if our climate looked a little different or a little more consistent. There's just no way you can expect dudes to play on a cold Wednesday in Seattle or even Chicago, Toronto, you mentioned. There's very real meteorological barriers to playing in mid-December and January in the United States. And unfortunately, I would love for us to align with the rest of the world's leagues and timing like that, but oof, you just can't expect one team to play all of their home games in snow. Cold is fine. I think any athlete should be able to tough it out cold or hot, barring extreme circumstances. But snow changes the game. When there's snow on the field, and it's a completely different sport. Like I said, I'd love for us to be aligned with the rest of the world, but I just don't think it could happen for us. Shout out to Japan for doing it though. Japan is on the as a country, as a footballing nation, is on the up and up. Their national team won their last 9 games, including decisive wins against Germany and Canada, Tunisia, who's a good side. Japan, excuse me, is on the up and up. And I think this is kind of a strategic move to become a little bit more of a world player.
There's a lot of pros to it. I understand sort of aligning your transfer windows with, the biggest clubs in the world.
Yeah.
And that sort of, it makes sense. It really does. And also sort of having the summer when you're having the biggest international tournaments, the World Cup or, Copa, whatever it is. I understand there's pros to switch. I can't imagine MLS ever doing it. I just, the climate and everything. Dalton, any thoughts here?
No, I agree with you guys. And I think, honestly, I think MLS would be taking a massive step forward if they would just take off international windows instead of making the teams play through the international windows. And it's just a crap product when all your best players are gone with their international teams. Then I think that that would be a step in the right direction. Don't think it's really possible climate wise to play through the winter unless you have a Bundesliga type winter break for like a month. And then The MLS season with Leagues Cup is already what, 10 months long at a winter break, and you're looking at an 11-month long season. It's just not really feasible right now, I don't think.
Right. The fixture congestion is already a problem. So I don't know. It's there's a lot of sort of pushes and pulls there. I can't imagine us switching anytime soon, unless we're going to unless we get to a point where we actually have like some you know indoor facilities that people are playing in which case obviously that sort of changes the game. But we're not there yet. All right, we'll move on from headlines to a completely random, out of the blue hypothetical, and I'm sure you guys won't connect any dots on. So weekly what if time. Christian Pulisic. Let's put our thinking caps on. What if Christian Pulisic leads the U.S. men's national team to back-to-back World Cup titles in 2026 and 2030, thus cementing his status as the best, men's national teamer ever, and perhaps that would also put him in the pantheon of greats, in world history, where he belongs, of course. So in this hypothetical scenario, yet hyper realistic scenario, Mitch, would you be in favor of the U.S. Soccer Federation retiring the number 10 jersey forever from the U.S. national team?
So when you texted me this, I had to restrain myself from laughing because of just how hypothetical this scenario is.
Yet hyper realistic, yes.
Yet hyper realistic. That was included in the wording as well. I struggle to even like grasp the concept of getting to a World Cup semifinal, let alone going back to back World Cups. Um, God, my no, no. And my reason for that is I think one of the beauties of football is the fact that jersey numbers are not retired and that each kit number, whether it's in club or country, kind of has its legacy that is passed down. And there are certain players that do that number proud, and there are certain players that do not. And I think that the story of a number, particularly on a national team, really carries some weight. So I like the idea of, God forbid, if we win one World Cup, let alone fucking two. I love the idea of someone having to step into that number 10 and go back to back to back. Like I like the story behind kit numbers in soccer. Whereas, it would be a very American thing for us to do to retire numbers. I think that's a slippery slope, though. You look at, some major successfully franchises, the Boston Celtics, for example. God, we have no numbers left. We have like 17 odd retired numbers, and it's like, damn, that's how many we're gonna have dudes playing with number 73 on their back in 20 years because we just choose to retire so many numbers. It's such an American thing for us. This is a long-winded way of me saying no, I would not be in favor of retiring the number 10, even if we went back to back, and even if Pulisic scored every single goal in the group stages and knockouts. If it happens, ask me again, and I might change my tune though.
Well, I agree with you. Without waxing poetical on how unrealistic it is, because it's hyper realistic. We already discussed
Right.
this. The I completely agree, and obviously, people reading between the lines remember that the Argentine the president of the Argentine Soccer Federation said that he's going to. I think he just sort of came out of the blue, just said, you know what, I'm going to retire Messi's number when he retires. I think
Ask Messi about that.
I think it
Shouldn't
sets
he
up.
get
Yes,
to
I think
say,
that's a great point. Number one, I just completely agree with you because it's I like the thought of where the Argentine soccer federation president is coming from. Like you want to honor Messi, I'm
Yep.
with you there. Like I've been swinging from his booty hairs like for a decade, probably 2 decades at this point. Like he is a god, a small god amongst men, and I would love. He deserves all the honors, all. all the statues, everything you can do and you bestow upon him, he deserves it. But like there's something to be said for having that jersey out there. Like, so he wanted to be Riquelme, like growing up. He like sort of idolized Riquelme, wore the 10 jersey for the Alba Celeste, and it's, you know, it sort of had a special meaning to him. Then Riquelme grew up sort of idolizing Maradona. And sort of you have this thing. And yes, the jersey, number 10 jersey it's one of the most, you know, iconic out there. But it's like, don't you want sort of kids to sort of see that in their future? And that's what I could be. That's what I aspire, you know, towards in soccer. I sort of dislike the idea of retiring numbers just in a blanket statement. I don't really like that.
I do too.
I think
I
the way to
wholeheartedly
honor
agree.
them is sort of, you know, appreciate and recognize the honor it is to wear that jersey. I think that's the best way to sort of truly honor Messi and Riquelme and Maradona and Pulisic, you know, in the future. Dalton, anything to add there?
No, totally agree with you guys. And I think it's like Mitch said, it's fun with soccer to like whenever you give that next great player that same number, it's like, okay, we're gonna do the same thing with Ronaldo. Like whoever takes the number 7 with Portugal, we're like, can they replicate what Ronaldo did with that number on his back? Can whoever wears number 10 for Argentina next replicate that? Just like we saw Naby Keita do with the number 8 at Liverpool in honor of Steven Gerrard. So like, you know, it's really cool to see those stories.
I was nodding while sort of reading something, and I was like, wait, hold on.
Wait a minute,
What are
yeah.
you talking about here?
Yeah, but it is really cool though to see those stories. I prefer it compared to the retirement thing, just like you guys. I'd rather see that legacy continued and add more great players to wear that number.
Exactly. I mean, there's something special to the number 10. When you see a number 10 out there, yeah, it's gotten, as somebody said in my Instagram, commented on my Instagram post, like the number 10 and sort of the iconic, you know, sort of feeling about it, it's gotten watered down a little bit. Like every now and again, you see like a fucking left back wearing number 10 these days. I'm like, what the fuck is this? You know, what is this all about? In which case, you know, I shame on him and shame on the coach for giving it to him and all that stuff. But you know, it's still, there's certain jerseys and like the Alba Celeste, the Argentina, you know, blue and white stripes number 10. There's something special about that. And to say like nobody ever wears this again, nah, I don't like that. I don't like it. Okay, Premier League time. We got a lot to talk about. We gotta run through this fast. Otherwise, we'll be here all week. And you know, I can only handle so many of these Bugattis or Porsches, whatever the hell's going on in front of me here. So we had a notable couple weeks here. A lot of interesting results. Some of the teams that, you know, there were 3 games played for most of these teams, if not all of them. Some of the more notable ones that stood out to me, Arsenal had an interesting couple weeks. There was
One way to put it.
but this goes back to the draw against Liverpool at Anfield, which is not nothing, but you know, VAR aided, shall we say, with that Odegaard handball, which I will never be able to wrap my head around that not being called a penalty. Then you lost 2-0 to West Ham, where VAR actually kind of did not give you the benefit of the doubt in that one. And then there was the 1-2 loss at Fulham. So Arsenal had an interesting couple weeks. Villa, kind of similar actually. They drew with Sheffield United. This is a Villa team that we've been talking up lately. They were hot. They were, you know, making moves. And then they draw with Sheffield United at home, lose to Manchester United, and then beat Burnley. A couple more just to throw out there. Manchester United lost 0-2 at West Ham. They beat Villa, and then they lost at Forest. That's a little interesting up and down. Wolves, as I mentioned at the outset, they beat Chelsea, they beat Brentford, they beat Everton. All of these were solid wins. This is a team we haven't talked too much about this season. They've sort of been in that mid-table purgatory, which, to be fair, is actually kind of a step up. They've been, they've been sort of fighting off relegation for a year or two, and they seem to have gotten things moving in the right direction here. So the Wolves had a great couple weeks, and then Newcastle, not a great couple weeks. They lost to Luton. Yikes! They lost to Forest, and they got their, you know, they got their hide spanked by Liverpool just today. So tough week or two there for Newcastle. So Mitch, start with you. What I don't know, who had the most notable, couple weeks here?
Are you throwing it to me because you want me to shit talk Arsenal?
Well, I'm just seeing
Fine,
where your head's at.
fine. I will. We are in a dreadful run of form. We we look complacent. Not a single one of those games that you mentioned, the Liverpool game, the Fulham game, or the West Ham game, were we the more physical team. In fact, I can't remember a game this season where we physically dominated a team, which we can do, but we choose not to. Um, we can't break down a low block for the life of us. There's little bits and pieces of inspiration in the final third that we can find, but it's not cohesive enough. It's just three guys. It's not four or five, and that final pass is missing. Um, and teams are kind of figuring out how to play against us. You saw that with West Ham. You saw that with Fulham. Fulham came into our living room and put their feet on our couch and said, "Fuck you. We're going to sit low. We're going to break on the counter. We're going to capitalize on the few set pieces that we have. And we're going to come and beat you in your own backyard." That was one of the worst performances I've seen all season. And I'm not pessimistic as a whole about the season, but something needs to change and something needs to change soon because this run of form is not going to do it.
And that was after talking about the Fulham game. That was after you guys went up, I think 1-0 in like the 5th or 7th minute.
Yeah.
I mean, like
Yep.
you were up early, which you would have thought would have sort of really played into your approach and sort of put them in a tough spot if they were going to try
Yep.
and come at you on the counter. Your offense is just, I don't know what's going on. Like, you guys are
Stale.
not. Yeah.
Do you think it's tactics, Mitch, or players, or a combination of both? Because that I've been wondering that. I haven't watched Arsenal as much as an Arsenal fan this year,
Yep.
but I watch like the games I have watched. Martinelli just doesn't seem as on it as he was last year. I don't know if that's down to the way he's being coached and where he's being told to be and what to do, or if it's just him not finding that form.
Part of it is tactics for sure. We are not a team that wants to play on the counter. Martinelli's a winger that thrives in space, whereas Saka is a little more interplay in the final third. Martinelli wants to run at defenders. Saka and Odegaard want to link up for a 1-2, 1-2, and then um, little tap in and dribble the ball into the net. I think there are some players who have been uninspired. Yeah, I think it's a combination. And I think it's tactics on the other side of the ball too, that we've become a little too predictable in the final third, and teams are comfortable enough now to play a low block against a really low block against us, and we're clearly susceptible on the counter. So to answer your question, it's both. I would say more tactics than players, but we do need a striker. We do need an out and out striker. We need to sign someone in January. Um, I've heard targets. I've heard Ivan Toney. My Christmas wish list was Victor Osimhen, but doesn't seem like that's going to happen. That's kind of a pipe dream now. I'd be happy with Toney. We need somebody bigger in the box. We play these balls. Odegaard, Saka more often than anybody else play these looping balls to the back post where it's like, who's on the other side of those? It's 5'9" Gabriel Martinelli. It's 5'9" Gabriel Jesus, who's good in the air for his size, but he's just not going to win those balls over a center back or an outside back. And it's Nketiah. Like, who are these little looping crosses to the back post actually going to? And when teams are playing that many players in the box against us, they don't have a prayer of making it through. So something needs to change.
New 9. Sounds like you need
New
new
9.
9.
We do.
All right. Same question to you, Del. So, I've listed a couple teams: Villa, United, Wolves, Newcastle. Those aren't the only ones, though. I mean, there's a lot of interesting results here. What's an interesting result, or who had the most sort of notable, sort of whatever holiday festive period?
Oh gosh. Newcastle's interesting. Long may that continue, I would say. West Ham, I would say, just in general, West Ham and Wolves, those two, if I am going to step away from being a homer and picking Liverpool top of the table for a second, those two have been super impressive. Wolves are very fun to watch. They have players that will take anyone on. Even when Pedro Neto was out hurt, who's finally back now, he came off the bench in their last game. Even when he was out, all their players are like, I'm just going to take my man on and I'm going to beat him. And it's incredibly fun to watch. And then West Ham, West Ham are flying. There's no, I know we can talk about Arsenal losing to them, but I don't think there's any shame in that right now. They're playing incredibly well. Jared Bowen is playing ever since he got moved, and Mikel Antonio getting taken out of the lineup was game changer for them, which I root for the guy. I like him, but this season he was just not it. And Bowen moving up into that striker role has been revitalized him. So that's been super fun to watch. And so yeah, those two in general, I think those two teams are worth highlighting, like you said, because we haven't talked much about Wolves because they're Wolves, but they've been fun.
Yeah, they, they're like a Midlands team. They've sort of been in the middle of the table. They have certain elements of flair. They've always got a couple guys that on the wing that do some crazy things, or they got somebody who loves to bang a 35-year-old or 35-year-old 30-yard.
Freudian slip. Freudian slip right there.
Miami's doing things to my brain here. But
who's outside your balcony, Sam?
They got like a Ruben Neves, right? Who just like 35-yard, banger to the upper corner. But
Kudus is incredible, by the way.
I was just gonna say, West Ham, Mohamed Kudus. This guy, he has been incredible since coming over from where was it? Was it Ajax?
Yeah, yes. Ajax. Yeah.
I mean, he has been.
I can't believe
amazing.
I can't believe every team wasn't trying to sign this guy. The signs were there.
Out of all the Ajax players that Ten Hag brought over and loves
he missed Kudus.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I guess that's almost like I'm not a big like fire Ten Hag guy. I think that he's just in a real tough situation. I think if you fire him, you kind of start the clock again, and it's just more upheaval and whatever. But the fact he brought all these Ajax guys over and didn't bring Kudus, that right there that's a red flag that maybe we haven't been talking enough about. So West Ham and Wolves, I guess for some reason, I don't know why I didn't include West Ham. Like they had 2 wins. I guess they didn't play a third game. Maybe that's why I sort of didn't.
Yeah, they still play Brighton this week. I think
they do. They still play Brighton, which would be interesting. That actually will be quite an interesting game tomorrow. But yeah, West Ham and Wolves are. So West Ham's at, what are they in, 6th at this point?
Yeah.
Yep, 6th. Wolves have pushed themselves up to 11th. Those two teams obviously done really well. Newcastle. We don't have to go into it too deeply, but there's so many of these rumors swirling about what's going on at Newcastle, and when a team does poorly, of course that's when these rumors start to sort of catch fire. There's a lot of smoke out there on the interwebs about some possible shenanigans with Newcastle and whether they were just sort of very young girls or escorts at a hotel. I don't know. I'm just looking at what the Twitter's saying. Dalton, you got something?
Even outside of that, not that stuff included. There is room on the Newcastle and Joel Linton specifically bandwagon. If anyone is interested, I am driving the wagon. I said last time when I was on this podcast that Joel Linton has no talents and just runs through people. He proved me right today and somehow escaped like 3 yellow cards.
He's a master of that. I don't know how. There was one that was such a clear yellow, and Anthony Taylor just didn't come back to revisit
Luis Diaz ended up getting one. So it's like, there's room on the bandwagon for anyone interested. I've been driving the Newcastle hate bandwagon ever since they got bought by Saudi. I will continue driving this bandwagon. So If anyone wants to join on, now is the time. Welcome aboard.
You still got window and aisle seats available.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, I know a lot of people on that bandwagon because I know a few Sunderland fans. Shout out to my guy Declan's Dave, and they obviously, speaking of hate boners, they have a serious hate boner for Newcastle, especially the new and improved and deeply financed Newcastle. Now on what were the other teams? So we talked about Newcastle and Trippier. I mentioned at the top Trippier. A lot of those, the smoke, the rumors, whatever, seem to be sort of circling on Trippier. And the interesting thing about it, normally I kind of just ignore this type of nonsense because there's a 97% chance that it's like absolute nonsense. But he has been so bad. He has been so bad lately that it almost makes you think there's something going on there, beyond sort of underneath the surface and whatever else. I'm just going to kind of leave it at that because we don't need to get into like the salaciousness. Listen, I love salaciousness when it comes to the Icardies and sort of very specific situations, but when it's total, probable hogwash, we don't need to go too deep into it. Any other specific results from the festive period?
I'll say it. Liverpool kicking the shit out of Newcastle today. We've been beating around the bush.
You'll
right?
jump on that grenade.
Yeah, how about setting the Premier League record for XG in a game today is what
Really?
Liverpool did. 7.27 XG.
Wow.
Aided by 2 penalties, of course, which is a lot of XG, but that number just goes to show how dominant Liverpool were today. It should have been more. I think anyone watching that game would agree with that. But just an absolute pumping. Just a game of Newcastle got 2, but it never really felt like they were in it. Even at 1-1, it was like, okay, there's another goal in this, at least for Liverpool. Thank God there was 3. But it was just Liverpool were all over Newcastle, and it wasn't even a contest.
Listen, Newcastle, they're off their game, right? Whether it's injuries or suspensions or whatever, they're just not the Newcastle of August, September vintage. Now, whether they sort of load back up in January and they get healthy and sort of they don't have Champions League to worry about anymore, that could help them and they could sort of climb back in. I wouldn't be surprised if they do, to be honest. But right now, they are just not quite the team they were. Liverpool, you guys are kind of away. I mean, let's be honest. Like, I would not. I'm going to skip power rankings this week to try and keep things short. But Liverpool, I mean, you guys are kind of scary right now. I would not want to play Liverpool, although Arsenal will have to this weekend, which we'll talk about very briefly in FA Cup in the weekend preview. But the Liverpool they're a problem right now. You guys got all these guys coming back. Now you are losing Salah
and Endo.
Okay, and Endo we're losing Son, so we being Tottenham. So yeah, it'll be an interesting few weeks here. Where teams are losing a fair amount of players. Arsenal's not losing Thomas Partey, interestingly enough. Not that we need to get into that situation
because he's in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not allowed back in whatever country that he's going back to. Listen, that's all speculation. That's just a legend.
Yeah, that one is no one knows what happened there.
It's strange. There's something strange going on there.
He's nursing an injury, according to Fabrizio Romano. So
very, very strange. But just as we stand, by the way, Liverpool 45 points. Aston Villa, despite having a rather tough festive period here, they're still in second place on 42. Man City, who is 1 game back in terms of they've played 19. Most people have played 20. They are at 40 points. Then you got Arsenal at 40, Spurs at 39. And then it's sort of a gap to West Ham, who's only played 19 games, to be fair, at 33. But this is going to be an interesting season. Like this is shaping up. This
is a title race.
It is. Like if City could do what City has done in the past, they could do that. But we've talked sort of ad nauseum week after week. This just doesn't feel like that City team, whether it be injuries or hangover from trouble or whatever.
We cannot understate the importance of Kevin De Bruyne.
Yeah.
I know he's been out of sight, out of mind for a real long time now. He's back on the training pitch. There was some rumbling that he was going to get subbed on late in the game, in their past game. I'm not surprised that didn't happen, but he changes the game. He changes the look of that entire team. And to have him linking up with the likes of Bernardo Silva, with the likes of an informed Doku and Grealish, who's been playing well as of late, and the greatest goal scorer in the history of the Premier League, Erling Haaland, statistically, not legacy wise. Um, like Kevin De Bruyne changes that team. So while this hasn't looked like the City of old, we we need to put some respect on that man's name. I'm nervous for his return.
We
Yeah.
wrote
Yeah.
City's eulogies, and if they win this game in hand, they're only 2 points off the top, which
I'm not going to
is
say they're
terrifying.
like they're not. They
They're not
drop
bad.
points.
They're not
They
bad,
get
right?
scored on. No, they're not. They're not bad. But
Yeah, City's not bad.
Their defense doesn't feel like the City defense where if they just
No.
have to absolutely
right,
shut something down, they always used to do that. And I don't know if they got that in them this year.
it
We'll
doesn't
see.
seem like it.
We'll see.
But
Okay, we're going to skip power rankings, as I said. So we're going to move right along to the weekend preview, and this will be very abbreviated because we really don't have a full preview or a full weekend slate to discuss. There are some FA Cup games, as well as the game we mentioned, West Ham Brighton, which is on Tuesday, and actually is a very interesting game. I don't have much to say about it other than like these two teams are, they're two teams on the up and comers, and it'll be really interesting to see. I know Brighton's been a little hot and cold lately, very hot against a Tottenham team that was, missing some players, but Brighton can play with anybody. West Ham is, as we've already discussed, they're in sixth place and playing really well. So I'm actually really interested to see what happens on Tuesday. These people. So
Florida man.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a different breed down here. The weekend preview. I mean, the one game that stands out to me, and I'm sure everybody sort of has it in their sights. Arsenal and Liverpool. You guys are getting back after it after a very entertaining, interesting Premier League game that we talked about, the 1-1 draw, which VAR played a pretty big role in that one. I still don't know how that wasn't a penalty.
yeah, did you hear the reasoning for it? The
Yeah, it
reason
was
was
because
that
he said he was using his hand to balance himself or something like that. Was
to
that
brace a fall. Yeah.
which is
Um,
horseshit. That is absolute horseshit. If anybody watches the play, saw Odegaard just blatantly put his hand down and fucking actually moved
no,
it towards the ball.
see, I disagree there. I think he actually was attempting to brace himself, but I'll say this, that is not a reason for it not to be called a handball. There's no reason that a player falling to the ground should be like a protected movement or a natural movement, if that player blatantly plays the ball with their hand and gains an advantage from it. Uh, I'm as biased as they come, but that's a penalty, like 10 times out of 10.
Yeah.
The reasoning for that is just asinine. I mean, every Arsenal fan saw that replay and their stomach dropped because we were like, what? How could that not be a penalty? Um, yeah, but to be fair, that Fulham goal, which was inconclusive but sure as hell looked out of bounds. Like I feel like we got our comeuppance there. Yeah, I think it's a wash for us in VAR in terms of the holiday break there.
And that's like my big picture thing. Like I've been sort of preaching this for basically years now. God, it's been that long. It's like these sorts of things, they even out in the wash. Okay, I mean that's why I don't like getting too caught up on the complaining about VAR and that sort of thing.
Right.
I'm still pissed about that Tottenham game, Sam. I'm still pissed about it.
You are. You're not the only Liverpool fan. Let me tell you. Every single time, I still somehow a Liverpool fan will make it. Make a reference to the Liverpool Tottenham game. Now, quickly in the we'll run it back. This time it's at the library, not at Anfield. So any thoughts on how this game is going to go, Dalton?
It's hard to tell until the lineups come out because I don't know how much Klopp and Arteta are going to rotate. I thought already before today's game where Soboslai came off holding his hamstring, I would think Harvey Elliott would get the start. Um, Kwanzaa's definitely going to get the start on the back line for Liverpool, and then obviously no Mo Salah, so it's going to be probably Diaz, Nunez, Jota up top. Without going through the whole lineup, it's going to be. It depends. If both teams are full strength, I think we're going to get another great game. But I think there's going to be some rotating on both sides where there might be some choppiness to the play, especially early. I think it's still going to be a really good game. I think both teams want to win this competition. So it's just like you're going to have to play a strong team early and hope you advance through to the next round. So I'm excited for it. Everyone loves the FA Cup, right? The magic of the cup, but it's going to be interesting to see like what team rotates and how much.
Yeah, that's a good point because we won't know. If it was full strength, I would be worried if I was Arsenal. And I don't think I'm saying that as a bias. I just Liverpool scares me right
No,
now.
based on form, you're entirely within your right to say that. I am going to look at the glass half full in this one and say that we need a game against a top opponent to actually get up for. I think it's really easy to play down to your opponents when you play West Ham and Fulham, and I think that's exactly what we did these past couple times. I think we need a good spirited end-to-end high level game to bring us back to the level that we know we're capable of playing at. To speak on rotation, I wouldn't be surprised if Nketiah gets the start over Jesus. I would not be surprised if Trossard gets the start as well over Martinelli. Just a little something different. Havertz is back. I I'm excited for this one. I'm nervous because of Liverpool's form, but I'm excited for what this game, regardless of result, I'm excited for what this game can do in terms of energizing a team that needs it right now.
Are you scared of Jota?
Naturally, yeah.
Okay, just making sure he's back. So
Yeah, no, not. I'm thankful that it's Jota and not Salah, but
yeah,
I am respectful of Diego Jota and his form and talent as well.
he loves playing Arsenal.
He
Absolutely
does.
loves playing
There
Arsenal.
we go. I mean, like, there's a lot of obviously I don't know what round of FA Cup we're at right now. There's still a lot of game. What are we in third round? I mean, so there's
Sunderland, Newcastle. That's the other one for me.
right. Yes.
I'm really looking at Maidstone Stevenage, to be honest, but
Yeah.
yeah, Sunderland
That's a big one.
Newcastle.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
The what is it? I mean, listen, Sunderland, Newcastle. It goes under the radar. I think for a lot of people, especially in the U.S. at this point, because Sunderland hasn't been in the Premier League, and so when they were butting heads, it was probably before a lot of recent fans have gotten into it. But man, that derby is huge. I mean, and the fact that they're playing in the FA Cup, Sunderland they're having an okay season. They're fighting it out in the championship. You got Newcastle with all their sort of new money, new riches, and everything like that. If Sunderland can and listen, Newcastle we've talked about. Newcastle is not coming into this game flying. Whatever the opposite of that is, that's what they're coming into. If Newcastle could win that game, that would be just so big for the fan base and probably for the rivalry too. I mean, like Sunderland has been down. They've been down a lot further than where they're at right now. And so it would just sort of cement them. It's sort of we're on the up and up. We're coming back. I'm rooting for them. I'll be honest. I'm not on the bandwagon. I'm not on your bandwagon, Dalton. But I am
Should be.
very much on the pro Sunderland bandwagon. So I'm with you on this particular game, and I hope they do it. Yeah, I guess we'll leave it. I mean, like, listen, there's still so many games at this point. I know Tottenham is playing Burnley. I expect a lot of goals in that game. Anytime Tottenham play right now, like both teams to score and the over, it just feels like you're stealing money from the bookie at this point. Our defensive woes, it's injury related and suspension related, but our defense stinks. I mean, when you got Emerson Royal and Ben Davies and Eric Dyer as like your center back options, it's not good. It's not good. Now we're gonna be without Son too. Oh boy. Oh boy. Hopefully we can get somebody in January or Madison. Maybe he's back soon. We'll see. Anyway, we will move on to round the world. We're going to start out with the Turkish related shenanigans. There's a lot of obviously there's been a lot of transfer chatter for the next couple of weeks. So we'll just touch on a few things here and there. I'm sort of outspoken about not really liking transfer rumors. It's just the whole sort of, the rumor mill is like this complex of everybody's benefiting from it with like, the retweets and all the bullshit. So I don't really like getting involved with it too much, but there are some rumors that I feel like are worth discussing. Before we get to them, though, this Turkish Super Cup is crazy. So this was Fenerbahce and Galatasaray, two of the, obviously the big boys of the Super League in Turkey. The game was being played or set to be played in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. It was canceled minutes before kickoff, like officially canceled. There was sort of some chatter on Twitter about it potentially being canceled. But the two teams, who absolutely hate each other, by the way, they came together and they jointly decided not to play because the Saudi authorities, they basically nixed the Turkey national anthem before the game, and they said that you can't wear shirts or hang banners sort of honoring Ataturk, who is, sort of the national hero. He's the founding father of the country. And so these Turkish teams, and listen, I know nationalism runs deep in Turkey, and they're just like, nah, fuck that. We're not playing this game, which, is kind of crazy. I mean, it's crazy. Like, the league, it's a cash grab, right, to play this game in Saudi Arabia. And then for this to be like a last minute thing that the Saudi authorities are like, oh, by the way, you can't do that. I can't even really wrap my head around how we got in this situation. But I will say it's worth pointing out and reminding people that FIFA, in their infinite wisdom, decided to, award Saudi Arabia the 2034 World Cup just weeks ago. And I know it's not sort of apples to apples, but it is a reminder that this is a weird, it's a weird situation. And, I know FIFA is they've come clean, and I'm sure there's no corruption or anything involved with awarding the Saudi Arabian, the World Cup. But it's just, I don't know. It feels weird. I don't know. Mitch, anything to add on sort of this whole situation? It just feels weird and gross.
Did I mention? Did I mention there's room on the Newcastle hate wagon?
That's true. You're biased.
No, I mean, good on the Turkish clubs, honestly. Like, if you're gonna go there, first of all, they're not completely scotch-free in this to me, because, like, why are you playing this game in Saudi? You wanted the money.
Now, to be fair, I don't know if Fenerbahce and Galatasaray specifically like agreed to it. Like, maybe they did, in which case they would be sort of looped in, or was it just like UEFA sort of making sort of, unanimous. That's not the word I'm looking for. But
either way,
unilateral is the word I'm looking for there. Maybe it was the Super League, the people in the Super League that made the decision. But anyway, yeah, go for it.
Yeah. Either way, it's good on them for standing on their morals of, like, if you're not going to allow us to represent, like, our country and be proud of our country with the national anthem and these banners and everything, we're just not going to play here. And good on them for doing that. And if more people do that, I think we might see something different. But, just good on them. Props to the Turkish, especially the Galatasaray and Fenerbahce fans, because I'm just happy to see it. It made me smile when I saw it.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's not like, just play the Turkish Super Cup in Turkey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
concept.
Spain and Italy, like, they're not alone in this. Like it's not Turkey that alone doing this. Like Spain is doing it, Italy's doing it anyway. Mitch, anything to add?
That was my main takeaway was when I heard about the story, I was like, why is this being played in Saudi? What's the purpose of that? Um, I think it might be, well, we know the purpose, but like it doesn't even make like monetary sense, does it? To just buy where the final will take place in a domestic cup, mind you. This is every other game is played in Turkey in front of Turkish fans in their home stadiums, and then you're going to have the final on a neutral ground in a country where none of the fans live. Like
Now, to be
Turkish
fair,
fans
it's the Super Cup,
travel
right?
well.
It's the Super Cup, so I think that means it's kind of like you're taking the FA Cup winner and the league winner. Isn't am I
And
right on in that? I actually am not sure on that. I'm
it's
completely making this up.
but it's a Turkish domestic tournament. It's only
Yeah,
Turkish
well,
teams.
it's a Turkish domestic cup. You know, it's Turkish domestic
Yeah,
competition, right? If I'm right, you're taking
Yeah,
like
it's
the FA
basically the
Cup winner,
Community Shield.
right? It's the community
gotcha.
Mhm.
shield,
Okay.
but you're
Still,
right. I mean, it's still two
initial
Turkish
reactions like why
teams.
is it? I think if we zoom out a little bit and put our big brains on, I think this could be a precedent-setting action from these Turkish clubs when it comes to World Cup time and inevitable restrictions are being placed on expressions of LGBTQ plus banners or anything that could resemble a political remark that disagrees with Saudi morals and values. Like this action from the Turkish clubs could be a precedent, and we could see, I think we likely will see um, nations taking a stand. I would like to see the US be one of them and really kind of like put their foot down early that if we are going to end up playing this worldwide tournament in Saudi Arabia, that it really should be a celebration of world cultures and it should not be just a football tournament played through the lens of the Saudi government. Like that's not what anybody wants to see, regardless of the paycheck that's being processed. So I'm happy. Like Dalton said, I'm proud of these Turkish clubs for taking a stand. I don't think this is the last we will see of clubs or countries taking a stand against seemingly irrational decisions from the Saudi government.
I think that's a fair statement. There's going to be a lot of, granted, we're still 10, 11 years away. No, it's
Yep.
2024 now. It's 2024, people. So we're only 10 years away from the 2034 World Cup. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of back and forth about this and some probably some icky feelings and, some disagreements. But yeah, I think it's good. The Turkish clubs sort of put their foot down, and we'll see. We'll see where we go from here. All right. So quickly, some of the transfer rumors and actually transfer deals. A couple deals have actually gone through that just sort of stood out to me. Johnny, he's heading from Internacional in Brazil to Real Betis. That one stood out. I've loved that. I think it's a perfect move. Like he's the sixth, the defensive mid position for the U.S. team is, I wouldn't call it a problem position, but it's certainly one where need some, you know, we need some help. We don't have the kind of reliable sort of quality backup. And I don't think Johnny sees himself as a backup. By the way, I think he sees himself as a legit sort of rival to Tyler Adams, and we need that. I mean, listen, I'm a huge Adams fan, but he's not been healthy, right? This is not like sort of breaking news. Like he's had some serious hamstring issues, which he's dealing with another one right now. So to have another guy that is sort of pushing at that same level with him would be amazing. And so I'm excited to see what Johnny can do. I know that we've seen him in the U.S. Jersey a few times here and there. People who watch Brazil, I'm sure Mikey's probably watching him week in and week out. But I'm excited to see him in a top 4 European country or league. And I'm really, and I know that Betis is looking, they need a 6 too. So it's actually a great move for multiple reasons there. I'm really excited about that. Other ones that stood out, and by the way, we can go back, and if you guys got anything to add on anything, go for it. Hugo Lloris is turning up at LAFC, who LAFC was not a team that like needed goalkeeper necessarily. They had two guys. I know that their contracts may be coming up, but Crepo, and who was it, McCarthy, I think. Like they seemed like they were in a fine position goalkeeper wise. He's showing
I
up
think he
at,
just wanted to move to LA.
oh, for sure. They said his salary was going to be like 350,000. Like,
After taxes in California?
I know
Jeez.
he's playing for free just to live in LA, apparently. So that was interesting. And then one rumor I'll throw out there, and I know Dalton probably will have a take on this. Antonee Robinson. There's talk, scuttlebutt, if you will, of Antonee Robinson getting poached from Fulham by Liverpool. So in fact, let's start with that. Dalton, what are your thoughts on that from a Liverpool fan perspective and the U.S. men's national team fan perspective?
Liverpool fan perspective, I'd love it because Antonee Robinson has been playing very well. He always plays very well against us, first of all. He does very well against Mo Salah, so I would not have to worry about that as much when we play Fulham. And also, just from a Liverpool perspective, Andy Robertson won't be around forever. And Antonee Robinson seems like a great successor to Andy Robertson and would get to learn under him for a little bit, get some games because there's so many games that Liverpool play. But from a USMNT fan perspective, I don't like it because he's not going to be playing week in and week out like he is with Fulham. And he is impressing with Fulham. He's playing very well right now. He's in that starting lineup. His name is in there in pin whenever he's healthy. I think he's in a really good spot. He could honestly take a step up. I just don't think that correct spot from a USMNT perspective is Liverpool because once Andy Robertson comes back and once Tsimikas gets back from his injury as well, I think Antonee Robinson could be second on the depth chart, but to overtake Andy Robertson is going to be a massive, massive doing. And it wouldn't have to be just Robinson playing well. It would also be Robertson having to play really poorly. So I like it from a Liverpool perspective because I see him slotting in very well there. But from a USMNT perspective, I really wouldn't want to see it happen. So it's very mixed for me.
Yeah, I agree on all accounts. I'm a little nervous about. I mean, listen, this is transfer rumors. I don't really know how much stock to put in, and probably not much. But he seems like he's in such a good spot in Fulham, right? And he's got Ream next to him. It seems like a great position for him. And it's not like he's playing, at some sort of lowly level. Like Fulham is, mid-table Premier League team. So I like where he's at. So I'm a little nervous about moving to Liverpool, where he, might not be playing that much.
For what it's worth, I think he'll stay. Liverpool just recalled a left back from loan with Dundee. I'm completely blanking on his name for some reason, but just recalled a left back from loan. So I would assume that would be all that's going to be done at the left back position for this window, and then pray that Joe Gomez doesn't get hurt. But we'll see. I guess if Joe Gomez goes down, all bets are off. But I would think that would be it, just knowing FSG.
Fair enough. Mitch, any thoughts on the ones I've mentioned so far? The Johnny, the Hugo Lloris, Antonee Robinson, or anything else of the chance for chatter?
Johnny, it's a good move for him. Played a high level at Betis, a team that is like historically mid to upper table in La Liga. Hugo Lloris, I get it, dude. Go live the rest of your days in LA and just kind of chill with LAFC. Totally endorse that. And I think it was time. I think he realizes he's not a Premier League keeper anymore, and it was pretty self-aware of him to go here. Antonee Robinson, agree on pretty much all accounts there. I think he's got a good thing going with Fulham, and he week in and week out is one of their highest rated players. I don't admittedly don't watch Fulham week in and week out, but I do look at the box score, and Antonee Robinson is up there in the mid to high sevens just about every week. The guy is clearly comfortable back there with Ream, as you mentioned, and I want to see him get consistent playing time. I don't think he would do that at Liverpool, like Dalton said. And at this point, he's so pivotal to Fulham's defense. I don't see why they would sell him unless the price was right. Like that's that's got to be a pretty penny that you're paying for him. So all good things, good problems to have. Worth bringing up Brandon Vazquez. Talks of Brentford, talks of Monterrey, and talks of, I think there was a Spanish team in there as well. Um, Brentford would be interesting because it does sound like they're going to lose Ivan Toney. I'm not sure to who in this window, but he's a big physical striker, led Cincinnati to success last year. I think Brandon Vazquez could be a really good profile in the Premier League. Um, at Monterrey as well, I don't watch nearly as much Mexican soccer as I do Premier League football, but I do think he could provide some value for Brentford, who have lost their last 5 games, and if we did power rankings this week, would probably be pretty low for me. They need to change. Brandon Vazquez, in his time with the U.S. men's national team, I've seen has been like a viable number 9 option. I think he provides something a hell of a lot different to anything Pepe or Balogun does. So, would be cool to see him in the Premier League.
Yeah. Okay. Good shout. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he ends up. I mean, there's been a lot of sort of talk about him leaving for months now. So hopefully he does get that move. And I mean, obviously it would be great to have yet another sort of real sort of number 9. I mean, like, listen, what's his name? Josh Sargent. When he's healthy, he should be in the mix too. He keeps scoring goals when he's on the field. And Haji Wright was scoring. I think Daryl DK is, going to get back in the mix at some point. A lot of injuries there, unfortunately. But listen, the more the merrier. And I think Brandon Vazquez is ripe for a move to a bigger club. Brentford would certainly be a step up. That would be interesting if he can make that work. That would be truly impressive. So something to keep an eye on. I'm sure we'll have plenty more transfer chatter because the transfer wires and the people who pump them, they can't get enough of it. But we'll move on from now. For now, we'll hit up stoppage time where we start out with, of course, Ivan Toney's best bets. As I mentioned, the overtrain is cooking with thermonuclear gas. We're coming off of a 4-0 week right now, and that is not even including the Brighton Tottenham over, which I handed out like candy to a baby on Instagram on, I think it was on Wednesday, which I absolutely knew that was going to go over. I didn't know it was going to be 6 goals, and I didn't know Tottenham was going to get their ass handed to them, but I did know there's going to be a shit ton of goals. So the 4 from the week before, by the way, just to quickly remind everybody, we had Feyenoord Utrecht on Wednesday, Brisbane Central Coast Mariners on Thursday, Den Bosch Cambuur, shout out, I think it was Dalton that brought them up from the Eredivisie second division.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Netherlands, who they've been amazing. Then we went to Belgium with Eupen and USG. And then it was only 4-0 because the 5th game was the aforementioned Turkish Super Cup, which didn't actually get played. Okay, so we are heading into, I'm just going to keep the momentum going and not even give you guys a chance to throw in your picks here. I'm just going to keep this momentum going. Overtrain. It's one of those weeks where there's a lot of domestic cup action, so I can't say I'm as excited about these as I am some week. But listen, I did the research, I dug deep, I feel good about them. So here's what we're going with. On Wednesday, AEK Athens and NFC Volos, and that's in the Greek Super League. Thursday, Palace and Everton in the FA Cup. I know when I sort of think of Everton and Palace, it smells like a 0-0, 1-1 game. Both of these teams have been scoring goals lately, and so I like that one. That's on Thursday in the FA Cup. Friday, we are going back to. I love the A League. I just love the A League. Treated me pretty well this past week. We're going to go with MacArthur and Newcastle Jets on Friday. That's in Australia. Saturday. This one I had to dig a little deep for. Braga is hosting Vitória de Guimarães in Portuguese in the Portugal Liga, whatever Liga de Portugal. That one I really like. In terms of the five, I might like Braga versus Vitória de Guimarães on Saturday the most. And then on Sunday, this one I really am gone back and forth with. I thought about some of the, like, say, Arsenal, Liverpool, and FA Cup, but then I've already done an FA Cup, so I didn't want to double up on that. So we're going to go to France, the Coupe de France, where Lens is hosting Monaco. I like that one. I'm not saying I love that one. I like that one. I do love the Portugal game on Saturday. So those are our five-a-side overtrain for this week. Let's stay hot, baby. Stay hot. Okay. Mitch, you look like you're ready to go with a pick for us.
I am. I've got 3 games, all money line. Put them all together. You're at 563. I like Barcelona against Las Palmas. Barcelona's away. Las Palmas are bad. But because they're home, they're getting some love from the bookies. Barcelona wins this game. Don't overthink that one. Excuse me. FC Porto against Boavista, another instance in which Porto is away. Porto is the best team in the Portuguese league. Boavista is bad. Don't overthink that one either. And then we've got an FA Cup, almost a pick 'em, which I'm curious at, but I like Wolves over Brentford. As I've mentioned, Brentford have lost their past 5. Wolves are flying, as we've mentioned earlier in this pod, and you're still getting Wolves at plus 190 money line. I'm almost skeptical of that.
Yeah.
Maybe take the spread because the bookies know something that we don't. But if both teams play to their current form, Wolves are smashing Brentford. I like the over in that one as well. But put those 3 together, Barcelona, Porto, and Wolves, you're at plus 563.
Yeah. Wow, that's a big plus 190 for
Plus
Wolves.
190 on the money line. Yeah, it's at Brentford, but even
Yeah.
still.
That makes it so big that it makes me nervous. Like,
Yeah. So
a,
I gotta it's not until Friday. So do your due diligence, look into lineups and everything, see who's injured, see if they're gonna rotate. But as it stands right now, that's juicy.
so this is your don't overthink it parlay here.
The first 2 are I've talked myself into overthinking the third one.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Just don't
Yeah.
overthink it. Just see
Yeah.
Wolves plus 190. I got to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Dalton, what are you hitting us with this week?
I am seeing what the odds are on this one right now. 2-leg parlay. We're gonna do over in Hull City and Birmingham. Both of those teams score and get scored on a lot in the championship this year. And I'm jumping on your overtrain this week, Sam.
Yeah.
I'm also going to do. Oh gosh, hold on. I'm finding this line. If you do over 2.5 in the Wrexham and Shrewsbury game, pair those two
Mm.
together, you're at plus 189. Do over 2.5 in both because you give yourself a little wiggle room there, right? Like over 3.5, by the way, in the Wrexham game is plus 180, which is crazy. Shrewsbury doesn't score a lot, but they're also in a league above Wrexham. So if you think that Wrexham can give up a couple to Shrewsbury and score a couple themselves, just take that over 3.5 and you're fine. But I'd pair it with Hull City Birmingham over 2.5 as well. And there you go. There's something a little spicy for you.
All right. I looked at that Wrexham Shrewsbury game. I was like, do I like it? Because Wrexham sort of went through a period where they weren't scoring a ton of goals because they started out the season hot. They were scoring, they were getting scored on. They must have, I don't know, done something on defense because they tightened it up a bit. And I get
Robin Ryan called in, and
yeah, Robin Ryan must have said something because their defense got a lot better all of a sudden. I was like, okay, well, I took them off my must bet over list, or at least must look at. But I looked at that Shrewsbury game because Shrewsbury gives up a lot of goals. They are in the league above, but they give up a lot of goals. So
you'd think they'll give up a lot to Wrexham. So yeah,
so
that's kind of my thinking behind it.
Yeah, long story short, I don't mind. I don't mind it at all. All right, let's finish up this episode strong with everybody's favorite segment, I can't get my head on straight, by the way. Goas. Who wants to go first? I don't want to go first
I
because
got
I
it
always got
ready.
such a list. Okay. Who wants to
We're both
be
ready.
the go for it.
Oh, go ahead.
Go for it, Dalton.
All right. You give us the option in the outline to go GOATest of all year, right?
Yep.
So all three of mine, I was kind of looking back on the year. We got a little reflective, and I'm going I have three. I don't think you guys took any of them, so I'm going to go ahead and name them all. I think they're all pretty unique to me. So when it got a little self-reflection, always good to do. Look back on the year. First of all, not a biased pick at all. Jurgen Klopp. Clips have been circulating in the last couple weeks of what January was like in 2023, not winning a league game until February. Klopp saying, this is my responsibility. I'm going to fix this. Never lost hope. And of course, the incredible manager that is Jurgen Klopp. And look where he has us at the beginning of 2024, top of the league. So shout out Jurgen Klopp. St. Louis City, first year in MLS for basically my hometown team. Really cool to see the way St. Louis jumped on that bandwagon and made me really happy to see. It was really fun rooting for them, so I can't wait for the next MLS season. So really fun there. Last one's kind of a curveball. Jude Bellingham. This guy, I don't know if we talk about him enough for what he does, but to be the rising star he was with Dortmund, signs with Real Madrid for an insane amount of money and somehow exceeds all expectations and is doing what he's doing right now and is becoming one of the biggest stars in world football. So had to give a shout out to Jude Bellingham as well. So there's my three GOATest of all year.
We're calling it the go
Go
I
A?
guess.
Go
Yeah,
A?
we'll go with
Go
that. That's
A?
good.
I don't
That's
know.
good. I like it.
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, listen, I do that when I start to think too hard, things happen. I sprained something up in the amygdala. All right, Mitch, I love that you went greatest, GOATest of all year, by the way. I didn't know if we were
Oh,
actually
yeah.
going to do that or if anybody wanted to. I'm glad you spiced that in. Mitchell, where you go?
I didn't even read that, admittedly, so my goes are a little more pertaining to this week. I got a good one and a big brain one. Good one is Sean Millis, aka the kid on the internet that looks like Rasmus Højlund, who has made videos encouraging him to score, saying, "Come on, man, you've got this. It's gonna be your first goal." Sure enough, Højlund scored his first goal, and you could see what it meant to him and the celebrations and everything. But Sean Millis, in particular, is a kid that he was on The Voice, the Australian Voice, for a little bit. He's got a lovely voice, but he is often clowned for his appearance on the internet. As we all know, the internet can be cruel and unusual, but instead of letting that bring him down, he has swung it into a bit that is never ending, is really positive, and has garnered attention from Hoyland himself. So I think it's really cool what he's done in the face of some really negative criticism on the internet, and swung it into a legitimate career opportunity and connection that has been pretty cool to see. Second one has to do with baseball, believe it or not. Dalton mentioned Fenway Sports Group earlier today, and as a Boston sports fan, they obviously own my Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox have been a source of disappointment for Boston fans over the last 2 years when it comes to letting players go. I'm going to say 5 years. When it comes to letting big players go, not signing that paycheck when we really, need to. Complacency in the off season as we're seeing now. But someone on Twitter opened my eyes, and as you know, we hate rumor mills on this podcast, but uh, I've heard that Liverpool are a very real candidate to sign PSG's Kylian Mbappe. And the only reason I can think of the Red Sox really not opening up the purse strings is because John Henry is saving that money to instead vest it in the French wonder kid Kylian Mbappe, which I think would be an incredibly prudent financial move from his aspect. I wouldn't love it as a Red Sox fan or an Arsenal fan for that matter, but it's opened my eyes a little bit, and I get it. I see the vision, John Henry. So for that, I don't like you, but I respect you.
If that happens, John Henry lost his wallet. He is not
Yeah,
doing that. John Henry will have lost his wallet somewhere.
there's no chance. And to be fair, the rumor mill from which I heard this was a like an Anfield reporter page. So I'm not putting a ton of stake into it, but just seeing the words out there makes it real.
But imagine.
But imagine,
Just
right?
imagine. Just
Just
imagine.
think about
There
it.
is
You know?
no chance. There is no chance that Henry is going to shell out that kind of
I
money.
love that you say there's
Uh,
no chance. I really do.
there
Because now
is
there's a little
no
chance.
chance. There is
There's a little one.
absolute. He's going to Real Madrid. It's just about.
Yeah.
It's a matter of time when he goes there. But I love that you guys both now think it might be possible. Okay. I'm glad you did your go eye with St. Louis City. That probably would have been mine too. And like sort of I'd loop Timmy Parker in there as well for coming off with some tough seasons and just sort of showing out this season. He was an MLS All Star. Obviously, he's one of the better friends of the program. So I'll loop him in there. Get Timmy.
If you're
Timmy
listening,
in with,
Timmy, I love you.
yes. So there we go. I'm going to be more traditional with my goes, and maybe I'll have to do a go eye next week. But I'll go with a couple honorable mentions. Listen, Wanda Nara. I mean, she probably could be in the mix for a go eye if we're being honest here every year. But this year, she listen. We're all team love here, right? Always. But Maro. So Fenerbahce and Galatasaray did not play the Turkish Super Cup, but they did actually play a derby a week before that, where Maro, according to him, got punched in the face. There were some replays that maybe he got punched in the face. There was also some replays suggesting that maybe he ran into the goalpost.
He did. He did run into the goalpost. That was
yeah. With his face, though, it was tough to tell. It was a little tough to tell what was going on there. But listen, he then went on social media, shockingly, to take his case to the fans, and he basically said that he got punched in the face, and I think Galatasaray kind of backed him on social media. Fenerbahce, the team they were playing against, came out swinging. So did who was it? Aiden Dzeko, I think, was one of the, so like the Fenerbahce players were like, nah, this is not happening. He did not get punched in the face. He does not have a black eye from somebody, hitting him in the face. But Wanda Nara, after all this, basically, put a double stamp on or triple stamp, double stamp when she supported her man by giving herself a black eye with, some makeup, which, that's what love is all about. That's what love is all about right there. Nothing but respect for her, and to have the the love and respect and appreciation for your significant other to put an ugly picture of yourself out there on social media. That's next level. Okay, that's why Wanda Nara is a queen. Number two, that was honorable mention, by the way. Another honorable mention will go to USV Hercules, the team, but also specifically to a player on this team, Tim Peters, and specifically maybe even more to his three teammates. So if anybody, this is a few weeks ago, right? It was in the Dutch version of the FA Cup / the Dutch version of the US Open Cup, which has been a topic of conversation lately. So USV Hercules played Ajax, basically the biggest team in the Netherlands. Hercules, an amateur club. I think they're in like the fifth or sixth tier. They're amateurs. They beat Ajax 3-2 on a last, I think it was stoppage time goal. So Tim Peters scored 2 of their 3 goals, and this is why his roommates are actually the Goa here. The roommates put €5 on Hercules to win and parlayed it with Peters to score. Not even a brace, just to score. And they turned that £5 or €5 into 11.5 thousand. And I'm sure this is like some 22-year-old dudes that they all live together. It's him and his 3 roommates. They all live together in some, 4, probably 2-bedroom bachelor pad in, I don't know where Hercules is. I assume maybe Amsterdam. I don't know. I have no idea. But listen, it's actually, I think they are not in Amsterdam. They're in one of the big cities. Regardless, that's not the point. The fact that they put $5 and turned it into 11,500 and probably had one of the greatest nights, in Dutch amateur soccer anyway, player history. Shout out to them. So they deserve the Goa, at least the honorable mention. But my actual Goa for the week, it goes to Chris Wood, the ultimate revenge game here, right? He was bought from, what was it, Burnley, I believe. Newcastle bought him from, and basically at the time they were both in a relegation battle. I think Newcastle was just buying him to try and get a leg up in the relegation fight with Burnley at the time, and then he got sold off immediately the next season, I think, to Nottingham Forest, or maybe 2 seasons later. Anyway, Chris Wood came out in the Nottingham Forest Newcastle game and scored a hat trick. Chris Wood, a Kiwi from New Zealand, comes out and scores a hat trick in the game against his old team, Newcastle. We're not going to talk about some of the goalkeeping things that have been happening in Nottingham Forest. None of us is talking about that. Addy Turner's going to get it figured out. But Chris Wood, we will give him a go. Well done. I mean, that had to have felt so good. 3 goals against a team that, I mean, I'm sure that they actually probably loved and respected him, but it just seems like kind of they kind of, I don't know, bought him for, maybe ill purposes and just sort of got rid of him when they didn't need him anymore. So shout out to Chris Wood. Well done, son. That's a great comeback. That's all we got. Thank you, Mitch. You are the best. Thank you, Dalton. You are the best. Hopefully you can use your powers for good and deal with some of the ambient sounds that's been going on around here with the Bugattis and the Porsches and the Ferraris and whatever other small testicled vehicles have been going on around everywhere. And thank you to everybody else. Sorry we weren't there for you guys last week, but it's good to be back. And thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week. Miss you guys already. Cheers, guys.